Hello everyone, this is Jimmy and welcome to episode 10 of Enigmatica 2 Expert, where I have finished putting all the molecular assemblers and their acceleration cards in. This assembler tree you see here, in total used about 100 assemblers. I ended up with 22 left over, and I think I made 120. Actually, I made 122 total, so I guess it takes exactly 100 assemblers. So I made a few extras, but this took like 8,000 blocks of wood to make. An entire rainforest was deforested to make this. That does highlight the need for a tree farm relatively soon, but I think I'm gonna wait for a tree farm until we have Ender Isle, because the Ender Isle tree farm is just so much better than any other tree farm in this game. Perhaps with the exception of the bonsai pots, because those are extremely space efficient. But the Ender Isle tree farm is extremely time efficient. All right, so now that we set up the semi system, let's start putting it through its paces. I already have some machines hooked up. The manufacturing pressurizer, basically the pressurizer makes plates, and it does so extremely quickly. Look at these plate recipes, right? Like 40 ticks each with enough speed upgrades, and I think we probably already have enough speed upgrades. It does operations in 1 tick. In fact, what do I have? Right now I have the iron plate recipe, and let's try that. Iron plates, 200 of them, go. Oh no, I need a few more to make it in 1 tick, but it's already using 34,000 RF a tick, so I don't want to bump it up too high. Later, we can just add the rest. You know, we can use up to 64 upgrades. But point is fast. Likewise, manufacturing very fast. I've also got the crystal growth chamber hooked up. Because of how fast these machines are, I'm not bothering to distribute recipes across multiple machines. It's simply not needed because of this sheer speed. All right, well, anyways, last time we made the ME system so that we could use it to make these machine structures more easily, right? Because this is we're gonna go diving down this rabbit hole today and work on all of these steps. As much as possible, I want to automate it so that at least I can do it on demand. I probably don't want to be doing these steps. I probably don't want to be doing these things passively, just because, like, how many energy cell frames are we actually going to need? You know, maybe tens, maybe hundreds, but not like enough that not enough that I want to do it passively. We save passive automation for things that we need thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of, so on and so forth. All right, so let's just start at the bottom of the rabbit hole and start climbing our way out, I guess. We can print these, so I'm just going to print them as needed. But step 1 is set up a Metallurgic Infuser with Redstone. In fact, I'm going to set up a couple Metallurgic Infusers because I'm probably not going to automate it with the carbon one, or the bronze one. But of these recipes, a lot of things use redstone, diamonds, and obsidian as our infusion ingredients. So I'll set up those 3 metallurgic infusers, and I'll use a factory variant as well. Of the 3 major infusion types for metallurgic infusers, I have redstone, diamond, and obsidian. The obsidian process is a bit more complicated, so I'm just going to leave it blank for now. But redstone and diamond are provided by interface here. They go through an enricher. We turn them into the plates just so that we consume less of it, and then that gets sent to the metallurgic infuser. So now we can do this first step: turn machine frames into energy cell frames. And because there's a passive supply of redstone going to the metallurgic infuser, the recipe can look a little bit like, import this, get rid of that. There we go. So I didn't actually name these interfaces, so I do have to come over here and actually put it in here, because it is sensitive to, you know, all 3 of these interfaces show up on the interface terminal with the same name, but it is sensitive to which one is like it has to go in the right one, right? If you put it in the wrong one, you have the wrong infusion material. It's not going to work. So anyways, all that's left now, did I configure the sides here? Yeah, output is on top, so do this. I typically just use the blue channel whenever I'm doing applied logistics as the output. I don't know, just at a glance, it helps me understand what I'm doing. So Now if I request one of these energy cell frames, let's see, should jam a thing in here, does its thing, probably plug my machines in as well. Good idea, great idea. No, that's not how you plug the machine in. Plug it in on top. There we go. Actually, plug your machines in. Whoopsies. And we're good. Alright, let me put some upgrades into these. Just to turn them into like the factories and yada yada yada. Upgrades are cheap now, so no sense not to use them. Unfortunately, I can't make the next tier factories because this requires zirconium, and I guess it's just zirconium. But I don't think I have a source for zirconium yet. At least I haven't bothered making it yet. Step 1 of very, very many completed. So now we've made the energy cell frame. Next step is to turn it into a hardened cell frame. This is done in an Empower, so let's start by making the Empower. The advanced coil here is a seemingly pretty strange item to be given a UU matter cost. It's like, I don't know, not that hard to make, but if it has a UU matter cost, I generally find that it'll be easier to print it than it is to craft it. So here we are printing them. Making the Empower unlocked a whole lot of quests, or completed a whole lot of quests. Almost all of these, or perhaps actually all of these, are from quest rewards earlier, so good feeling when you just get free loot bags. Matter of villager market, what's this? All, show all. I guess I suspect it's if I place it near villagers, it'll collect their trades together. That's my guess based on the name. Maybe we'll look at that more later. Does sound interesting. Arctic fur, that could be useful to make armor later. How many I get? Down for some overclockers. And that's just decorative. Alright, this is needed to make the there's armor we can make from this, and this armor is used eventually, so I don't know. Might save us some time in the Twilight Forest later. Might not. Anyways, there's a few more quests here I had completed at some point, so let's grab these. But the next step will be to use the Empower to start doing things. I'm not going to grab those yet because I don't know what reward I want. Base pillar, that looks just purely decorative. And sure, those will be useful. Now, all the Empower recipes also duplicated into the combination crafter. And looking at this, I actually think perhaps I haven't seen a reason why we can't make the combination crafter yet. Oh, wait, never mind. Here's a reason. I was about to say, what I was thinking about skipping past the Empower and going straight to the combination crafter because I've no doubt the combination crafter is a lot faster. But I guess we can't do that. For now, then, let's set up our Empower. We're going to use it enough that's probably worth automating as opposed to just what I usually do with the Empower, which is just batch process through it. But recipes like this hardened cell frame, I don't know, it's not optimal. It's not the type of, like, we need enough that I don't want to just batch process it, but we don't need so many that, how do I word? Don't worry about it. We're just, I'm struggling with my words today. But yeah, let's just set up basic Empower automation. Not exactly difficult or anything. It's just a little bit annoying because it takes a fair bit of space. Excuse the dire wire, but the way I set up this Empower is that the ME system will supply the items into a chest here. From this chest, I extract on 2 channels, brown and purple. Purple is for the center items, brown is for the not center items. So the center items are blacklisted on brown, whitelisted on purple. They go to their 4 display stands or the center Empower. When it's done, the final product gets pulled into a hopper. The reason I use a hopper here is because the hopper withdraws the final product immediately, whereas if you just directly extract with an item conduit, it can have up to like a second-ish delay. That has the potential to kill a race condition if you have items that can belong both in the centers and on the sides later on. It's that race condition is also if the item doesn't go on both the center and the sides, the whitelisting fixes that. So it's not technically a problem yet, but it might become one later, so it's preemptive. Anyways, let's go encode the recipe for this casing and try it out. So we should just be able to put this into pattern mode or processing mode, put that in, and encode this. All right, these other items, do we just have them? Steel rods, we have some. Invar gears, we probably don't. Let's just go craft a stack of it, or a handful of Invar gears, because I don't have like a gear maker automated, on the ME system yet. So put that pattern there, and I'll just make a stack of gears by hand. Well, not by hand. In the I think this one's the gear maker. Make a gear. I'm gonna bottling the metal press is one of my favorite things to do. A very satisfying sound. Alright, so now let's try to craft that, what's it called? Hardened energy cell frame. I hate when the typing just takes me out of the UI. Energy... hardened cell frame, I see. Missing Invar plate. That's also easy enough to solve. Make me plates. Alright, third time's a charm. Make me one of these. Go. So that should result in the items being dumped here. It's important you set this on blocking mode too, so it doesn't push, it doesn't push multiple crafts worth of items in at a time. But put the items in, let it do the zappy zap. My gosh, how long does this take? I'm so incredibly impatient. 10 million RF, huh? And how fast are you running? At least you're running quickly. Alright, let's plug in more sides of these display stands, and maybe we can get the crafting a little faster. I connected 3 points to each display stand, and it did speed it up a bit. The display stands, I don't think there's a limit to, well, there is a limit to how fast they can beam energy, but there's also a limit to how much energy per tick they accept, but that's a per side limit. So plugging into more sides typically makes them run faster. Anyways, that is one of these frames. Next step, technically if I was going for Ender Isle, we can just do this craft now, but the next step is to craft it into a reinforced cell frame. That doesn't look too bad. We might have to make a few more machines, just because, like these flux crystals. We could do... Nah, it's probably easier to do it with the fluid transposer. Yeah, what is this? Beachy alloy. That's a new thing. Producing the components for the reinforced frame here, namely the flux electrum and flux crystals, requires a couple more machines. So I have a fluid transposer here that's just shoving redstone into things, with redstone always being provided here. I think shoving redstone into things is one of the most common uses for the fluid transposer. So I just have a dedicated machine for that. That recipe's that very useful. But yeah, there's a lot of things that just need redstone pushed into them. So this simplifies the recipes a little bit. When dealing with fluids, I like to just passively provide fluids and then on demand provide just the item bit, especially when the fluid is basically free to make, right? I can make tons of redstone because I have 33,000 redstone pieces. All right, the other thing we need is an induction smelter to actually process the flux electrum ingots. I mean, there's a couple other ways to do it, but I think the easiest way is to induction smelter it. So there we go. All right, all these machines are only hardened or reinforced here because that's as high as I can go for now. The next tier requires cryothium, which I haven't farmed blizzes yet, or come up with some other way to get cryothium. Oh well. Anyways, yeah, that should mean that we can craft the next tier frame. So, oh, just kidding. We have to turn the flux electrum into plates. That is easy enough. There we go. So we can request a frame. now we have the empty reinforced frame. We next have to fill it with molten lumium. So let's start by making lumium. I assume we can make the ingot in a induction smelter, maybe? We can make the blend. Let me find an easy way to make lumium. This setup for making lumium is going to be temporary because I think the best way to do it is, let's pin this recipe, but the best way to do it is just straight up to make it in ingots, to make it in the Arboreal alloy smelter, but we just don't have that yet because it's a one-step process. So what I'm going to do for now is supply tin silver alloy, which is made in an alloy furnace or an induction smelter, as well as glowstone to this chest, and then we put glowstone into a magma crucible, tin silver alloy into the fluid transposer. It's a little slow because our magma crucibles are still a little on the slow side, but that's okay. When we have higher tier machines, this will be much faster, and this makes lumium somewhat decently. The advantage of this is because I'm filtering the insert of a glowstone to here and, blacklisting glowstone to here, we can use the same system on this next step, because we can then take these lumium ingots. Let's see, where'd they go? Oh, I didn't actually sit. Derp. Anyways, we can take lumium ingots, whitelisted here, blacklisted here, and the recipe can say that to make this frame, we take, I think that's 4 lumium ingots, 4 lumium ingots and a resident frame. Dump it all here. The lumium will go here and melt. The frame will go here and wait for the melted lumium. Let's encode that recipe and try it out. Put the recipe in, and that's what I expect it to look like. Go. So that should get dumped here. That lumium comes here and melts. And it's filling. Okay. For a second I thought it was stuck, but no, this is just a slower process, I guess. All right, so that will make the full frame, which for one is one of the key parts of making the quarry card that we no longer need, solar array controller. But next up, we have to make it into the Cinnalum frame. Oh my gosh, this rabbit hole just doesn't end. I like how I decided to make this thing, right? Because I was trying to avoid making that titanium alloy for this. Instead of doing a moderately complicated process to make this ingot, I decided to do an extremely complicated process to get around it. Sometimes I question my decision making, but there's the reinforced frame. All right, next step was we have to turn it into an empty Cinnalum frame. So I'm going to do this. I don't know. There's a whole lot of materials that go into this, so let's take it one step at a time. From the easiest, it's Cinnalum. This we can make with our, hold on, this one, fluid transposer. We already have a fluid transposer filled with redstone, and this Shibuchi alloy is easily made in an alloy furnace. All right, that one in fact is so easy I'm gonna call it trivial. Moving on, that next is Cinnabar. This one is not that bad, I think. We can get it as a 10% yield when crushing gold ore. So of these recipes, I think this is the only one, like, we have tons of gold ore, right? So the other byproducts, I don't really, like the gold dust itself, I don't really care for. This recipe is very good, except it requires getting Cinnabar ore, which I just don't have. So that's not too bad. And the rich slag, we can quite easily turn Cinnabar into rich slag by running it through an induction smelter with any ore. Now, we're not going to have to create tremendous amounts of Cinnabar rich slag because these frames, maybe a couple dozen of them will get us through the pack, I think. At least until we get quite late game when we have effectively infinite resources to use. So for now, I'm content only making, stack of Cinnabar and a stack of rich slag. Anyways, rosin, last one. This has to be made from resin. Produces tree oil, which for all practical intents and purposes is trash. All of these chance byproduct steps, by the way, we can use augments to make them makes the chance higher, I believe. It's this one? Yeah, increases the chances of a secondary product. That's pretty good. Now it's just we have to get resin, and I believe there's all these recipes in JAI for it. I don't like any of them. I believe there's a way that we can get it from, like, there's a tree fluid extractor, right? No, not this tree fluid extractor. Let me look it up. One of the thermal machines does it, I think. Except it doesn't show up in JAI. Here it is. The Arboreal Extractor. It says extracts fluids from a tree. JAI doesn't tell you which fluids you can get, but according to their website, if you use it on birch, jungle, or acacia trees, it'll produce resin or spruce. And then we can process that resin through the fractioning still to make rosin. Rosin? Rosin. Memory serves me right, the Arboreal Extractor does not use power. It just literally has to sit up against a tree. I don't even have to set input side to match a tree. I guess not. Or, I don't know. I said it anyways. You can optionally give it Phyto Grow. So if we give it any type of Phyto Grow, that's not how you spell Phyto. Phyto. What is happening? Oh. Phyto Grow. If we give it can I craft it? Nope, can't craft that one. Probably can't craft this one either on account of... Okay, I guess we're not giving it Phyto Grow. Never mind. But, sleep please. Thank you. If you give it Phyto Grow, it runs faster, up to 4 times faster with the top tier variant. But, we don't have it, so, well, we'll make do. This, as far as I know, does not damage the tree. So, like, bam, we're done. Automated. But this produces resin. We just have to, let's see, we'll output the right into a resin funnel. The resin funnel, oh, that's not what it's called. It's a resin something. Fractioning still. That's not a resin something at all. The fractioning still does use power, I believe, so... Yep. Do you not auto-output? Oh, you probably only auto-output when you do work. Anyways, I'm gonna upgrade that so we can put the auxiliary sieve in it to increase the, to increase the chance that it produces product. Plug you in, and off it goes. So the item output I will store in a drawer. The fluid output I will trash into a trash can because I don't need tree oil. On the upside, this process requires basically no intervention and like it very periodically uses a couple hundred RF a tick. On the downside, it's glacially slow. We could put more arboreal extractors around. I think adding more around this tree doesn't... Oh, hold on. Putting 3 or more around this tree reduces each one's efficiency by half. But I guess that it is a net increase. I don't know. But the thing is, we can kind of just leave it here, and we don't need that much rosin, right? We need 2 pieces per frame, and you know, if we're making a stack of frames, we need 2 stacks of it eventually. So I'm just gonna leave it here and let it do its thing, and it'll take the better part of forever, but we can wait, I guess. In the meantime, then let's go to the Cinnabar and then rich slag. So I'm just going to set up a pulverizer on the side to process some of the gold ore. I'm actually going to use my other resonant kit on this, just so I can fit in all 4 of the secondary chance items. And let's see, from a stack of gold, oopsies, I didn't mean to throw that on the ground, how much we actually get. So it's normally a 10% chance. The other benefit of making it resonant here is that we get to, well, it's a little bit faster. So I'm gonna time to bottle this. I guess thermal machine, my capacitor is almost empty. You can't really time to bottle thermal machines all too much because if you do, their energy buffer just starts dropping. You could plug it in on a second side. I think it is energy input limit is per side. But anyways, we got 19 out of 64. That's a little bit better than 25%. Given that the theoretical rate is 10% before upgrades, that's quite good. Anyways, yeah, I'm going to let it run through all of this and we'll see how much we end up with. A fair bit later, and I have enough Cinnabar for now. Anyways, next step is to turn some of the Cinnabar into rich slag. If we just run it through an induction smelter with any ore, I believe, there's like a, or maybe does it have to be gold ore? Let me check. No, I think, yeah, I think we'll run it through the induction smelter with any ore for a 75% chance to get rich slag. And if we put the upgrades into the induction smelter, that 75% chance will get, you know, nearly 100%, or probably actually 100%. Change my mind. We're going to do something slightly different. Oh, I can't do this. I thought you said I could put fused quartz in here. Game, you say I can. Can fused quartz not... Is there no tin? Yeah. Fused quartz plus tin powder. Not locked. Game, why you lie to me like this? Okay, fine. Let me make some hardened glass. My plan is to not use up the Cinnabar, because it's a bit more valuable than... I mean, it's a bit harder to get, so... I don't know. Doesn't really matter. There we go. If I just use hardened glass, it accepts it now. So this byproduct has a chance to produce... oh boy, it's much... Oh, is that because my time in a bottle wore off? It has a chance to produce rich slag. So all it does is basically destroy tin dust in the process, but I have tons of it. The hardened glass gets turned into hardened tin glass, and then we can just run the hardened tin glass with tin again to make hardened tin glass. It's not about the glass, all right? It's about the slag. That's the actual product we're after. And when all's said and done, I have enough rich slag for now, so we'll let that finish its processing. But all right, that's everything but the Cinnalum. Yeah, let me just put the Cinnalum recipe in real quick. That'll only take 1 second. We'll later set up well, at least we'll probably set up passive production for this. I imagine, yeah, we'll need it for singularities. So right now, though, just on demand producing it in the with the fluid transposer will suffice. The end is in sight. So this, hold on. That's not the one we want. We want the Cinnalum. Oh, I need to put the recipe in. Put this recipe in. And we're done with 2 rows. Once we finish up these 32 molecular assemblers, we're going to have to chop down another jungle. Hopefully by then we'll have the Ender IO tree farm. That's still not the right one, is it? Wait, Cinnalum. Yeah. What happened to the one frame I had? Oh, it's in here. I'm about to say, I swear I had one. There we go. We shouldn't have to start from scratch. Now, when we're done with this, I'll try to make one from scratch, but we'll see how that goes. Anyways, this last step is trivial. Thank you for an easy one. I think we were long overdue for an easy one. That just goes into the induction smelter. Oof. All right. It's a lot of redstone, but go. This might take a little while. 100,000 RF, yeah, I'll probably take it like 30, 40 seconds. Let's go check on the machine. Just to make sure nothing's broke. Oh, finished right as we got here. We got baited. But we have the Cinnalum frame now. Now this frame can be used to make the machine structure. However, we're not done yet. The shafts, these are trivial. The elite platings, these are not trivial. Not at all trivial. But this frame can also make the mob duplicator. Eventually there's one more tier of frames, resident frames, which, oh no, just looking at this recipe hurts my head. Which is for some of the dimension stuff. That's late game. We're not going to worry about that. For now, though, let's actually try making 3 more of these from scratch, just as a sanity check of the system, right? Make sure nothing is terribly broken. So we started off, it's going to take it a long time because it has to like do the empowering step, which probably takes like 30 seconds. There's a bunch of 30-second-ish steps involved here. So it'll probably take you like 2 or 3 minutes to make them all, but most of the work to set this up is, well, all the work to set this part up is done. It's just waiting for it to run. And they're done. Took about 5 minutes, which is a bit longer than I expected, but most of the bottleneck was the Empower. And not much we can do about that until we can make the higher tier Empowers, the whatchamacallit these things, combination crafting or fusion crafting. So until then, we'll accept it. We don't need to make these tremendously quickly anyways. But that's, yeah, now that leaves us looking at elite platings. Let's not do this today. How about let's be done here today. We'll consider this a win because I think we made good progress, but it's clear that we have a lot of work left to make these machine structures. Oopsies, I did not mean to unpin that. But I think we can structure. I think we should be able to go through the second rabbit hole tomorrow, probably. Hopefully. Calcium sulfate again. I remember making this thing in Trillionaire. Yeah, okay, we have a lot of steps left. I would say odds are good we can finish this machine structure project tomorrow. So I'm glad that my efforts to avoid a moderately complicated project have gotten me down this rabbit hole. But at the end of the day, these are all systems we had to make anyways. So in the grand scheme of things, my intent is to reduce the overall number of systems we have to make by 1 by eliminating this alternate, wherever it is, this alternate titanium recipe. But we'll see if I actually succeed at this tomorrow, next episode. I don't know, whenever I get around to it. Anyways, I hope you enjoy diving into this project with me, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for when we finish it. Take care, and bye-bye.